Everybody in here real quick? Just before I get started, I just wanted to take a minute to honor the memory of Xavier McLean, sophomore at Linden High School, passed away yesterday from injuries he sustained in a game a couple weeks ago. On behalf of the Jets organization, heartfelt condolences to his mother Lisa, his father Norman, his brother Andres, and the entire Linden community. Sad day, and anytime you lose a member of the entire football community. So just heart goes out to him and his family.
Transition.
Yeah, sorry guys.
What Corey Davis popped up on the injury report?
Yeah, I'll go through those real quick for you guys. I apologize. So Zach's doing fine. He'll be out. George will be limited again today. Jordan will be limited today, Jordan Whitehead. Then JFM is full. CJ Uzama should be full. Quinton Williams will be full. And then Corey will be full. So had something happen on Wednesday with his knee. Just wanted to give him an extra day with it being so wet outside. But he's fine. He's 100%.
Anyone other than Zach you're worried about for Sunday?
No, I'm not.
So what will fans' designation be? Questionable or doubtful?
It's still going to be questionable. They're all questionable on here. You never know. I think doctors like the 50-50 game for some reason.
Have you had like rookies that come in and contribute like so early, like throughout your stops in your career, like you've had here?
Yeah, that's part of the whole thing though. When you and it was learned in Seattle with Pete. Even if you go all the way back to his USC days, he played a very, very young group of guys, all freshmen and sophomores, and then they became the juggernaut they became. And when we got to Seattle, it was just play the young guys eventually, with the objective being that veterans don't make mistakes, but they're not nearly as explosive as the young guys. Young guys make tons of mistakes, but they're not as smart as the old guys. And so how do you get young, explosive players to think and play like old guys? Well, you got to play them. But you go through the lumps of it, and so I'm kind of used to it, kind of used to the hair pulling moments. But the flash plays are pretty exciting, and it's why I stand up here every day and talk to you guys about. You just know it's going to work because you see the flashes, you see the talent. Now, can we get that talent to be consistently great?
So just to piggyback off of that, just what have been your thoughts about just Sauce and obviously Gary had the big game last week, and Jermaine Johnson and Brees and Max Mitchell actually.
Oh yeah, no, they're all doing a great job, but again, it's the crutch of excitement and fans in terms of we only see the good that they do, right? And so we give them this long leash and we make excuses for their mistakes. Because I could give you a long laundry list of stuff that on the flip side could have been a heck of a lot better. Though that's the gap we're trying to close. The unbelievable flash plays that we all see they're capable of versus the back-breaking things that derail some of the things that we're trying to get done. When that gap closes, that's where it becomes unstoppable explosiveness, and that's what we're relentlessly working for.
Are some positions easier than others for a rookie? Like, let's say cornerback, it's like go cover that guy versus some other positions where there's more stuff going on.
Yeah, there are corners really hard in this league to master as a rookie. Not easy going to defend some of those guys out there. Those receivers are avatars, but aliens, if you will. But no, so some positions are easier to transition than others, but it's still very difficult. It's just a different game.
Robert, I think we discussed this last year, maybe after the Buffalo game. Your philosophy on corners traveling with receivers versus playing sides. I'm not asking you to reveal your plan for Sunday, but just kind of in general, your philosophy there.
No, it's we are so on first and second down, we're zone defense. So you want to just keep guys lined up, playing where they are. If you guys noticed against Baltimore, we traveled Ahmad on the tight end. So when you get the third down, you're not worried as much about the run game, and you can play a little bit more man and zone where it's more universal. And you don't. The run fits are the biggest part of zone defense in terms of just making sure that you're responsible in that regard. But once you get the third down, you're a little bit more free. You can freelance a little bit more with how you use your guys.
When you look at a team like Cincinnati that's had some issues in pass protection, does that reaffirm your general style of defense where it's like just let the four get home and let the 4 rush, or when you see a team that has struggled the last couple of years of pass protection, you say, like, you know what, let's gear it up and get after them and blitz them a little bit?
Yeah, everyone's different. And this organization has seen all of it with regards to defense. You have Rex, who manufactured pressure to play great coverage in the back end, which worked phenomenal with great success. And then archery, where you win with 4. You rush 4 and you cloud up all the zones in the throwing lanes. That's just one man's opinion, but just found that the greatest quarterbacks in the world hate when you're hitting them with 4 and you've got 7 in the back end. I'll go back to it, like the Giants beating that 17-0 team, New England. They beat them with 4. The greatest show in the world, the Denver Broncos, we beat them with 4 in Seattle. If you can do it with 4, that's the best way to do it. With that said, if your 4's not working, then you got to bring some extra pressure, and that's where you start having to play the game. And what we've found is that the elite quarterbacks, they almost want you to pressure because they know they got one-on-ones. It's an easy flick of the wrist and get the ball to their playmakers. But it's a chess match. But if you can do it with 4, you're, in our opinion anyway, if you can do it with 4, you're doing really well.
You guys didn't have a lot of highlights last year, but obviously one of them was beating this team here. Is there anything you could take out of that game? Because they have similar personnel.
They're explosive because we rewatched it as a defensive staff, and I remember for some reason that we balled out, and I was like, God, how the hell do we give up 31 points? It shows how explosive they are. And but they look every bit as good as that. Like I said, they've had they played a Pittsburgh team and turned the ball over 5 times and still had a chance to win it. They lost on a last-second field goal to Dallas, so they're every bit as good. They've just gotten off to 2 unlucky starts within in their own 2, but they're every bit of the AFC champions that we saw a year ago.
How much more challenging is it when you play a quarterback like Joe, Burrow, where you can hit him a ton and knock him down, and it seems like he's never really phased. He's not like one of those quarterbacks where you hit it and suddenly he gets happy feet, where he just keeps getting up and firing.
No, he's those are the ones when you love those guys. I love it. He gets back up, and from what I've been told with guys who like CJ Uzama, he gets up and he's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'm about to bomb these guys." He just has this confidence about him, and he's relentless. He's got amazing confidence. He's got great accuracy and toughness, and he's extremely smart. So he's definitely a superstar in this league. And anytime you get an opportunity to play these guys, it's always a challenge.
Robert, the upgrades you guys have made to skill positions, one of the happy problem for you. That is spreading the ball around, making sure everyone gets it. Elijah Moore feels like he hasn't quite been as involved maybe as some of the other guys. Is that a point that you guys want to try to get more involved in the offense?
It's really the way the ball when you're dealing with offense, especially with our we're a rhythm and timing system, and you can have a young man number 1 or 2 in progression every single snap, which Elijah is for the most part. And if a defense dictates where the ball's going to go, well, quarterback's got to get it to where the defense tells him to throw it. And so with that regard, Elijah's involved. He's out in the field. He's definitely early part of the progression, but it just hasn't come his way. I think with his relentlessness and the way he works, eventually he's gonna blow up. But it's not going to be because we forced it. It's because he did exactly what he does every week. He plays his absolute tail off. He prepares his tail off, and the ball's going to get to him, and he'll create explosive plays from it.
Robert, with Sauce, a lot was made about him not giving up a touchdown in college, and now, he was dinged for more. I don't know if credited. That's not the right word, but with one. Did you have a conversation with him? Is it like maybe it's good, get this out of the way? There will be more. Like, what's that conversation?
No, we talked about this way back in OTAs that he's going to give up his first touchdown. So get your mind right, because you're not just going to give up one. There's going to be plenty. And in the early going, and you could argue he still hasn't given one up. But teams are going to keep trying. People are competitive in this league. They're going to try him, and they're going to keep trying him, and until he can prove that he can take the ball away and do different things. But I wouldn't even notice that if he probably didn't even know that he was credited with that touchdown, to be honest with you, the way he works. But he's going to give up a lot more, and it's hopefully not too many more. But it's just the way the league works.
You have a guy with CJ obviously playing with the Bengals for the last few years. I mean, are you able to pick his brain of additional things or gain anything from him, or does the majority of your defensive game plan come from your own film study?
He gives you insight into what some thought processes and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you just watch a tape and you have your philosophy, and there's some stuff that he can give that you can use, and there's some stuff that's like God doesn't apply to how we play, and you don't want to reinvent the wheel based on little tidbits here and there, because then you still got to have the players go execute something brand new if you're asking them to do that. But there's been a few things, so hopefully it works out.
Robert, one situation from Sunday we didn't ask about the afterglow. At the end of the first half, after the 2-minute warning, they're going to punt, and I think they ran it down from maybe like 150 to 110. How come you didn't use the timeout there?
At the end of the half.
At the end of the first half.
Okay.
When they were about to punt.
So we had him backed up. Just talking with the situational coordinator that we have, Dan Shamash, does a great job. It plays differently. So number one goal at the end of the half is not to allow the opponent to have another possession. So we felt 2 timeouts. We knew we were going to have a little bit over a minute. We knew we'd get the ball around midfield based on the punter and where the ball was. It was in our best interest to just let the clock wind down. We still had plenty of time to go get points and explosive play, and we're knocking on the doorstep for a touchdown. So, it worked out perfect. We got the 7 points. They didn't get another possession, especially knowing that they had the ball coming out of the locker room. So you're trying to avoid those lapse situations the best you can. So if, play it the other way now, if it was end of game situation, yeah, we're burning that timeout. We need all the time we can get. Because that's it. They're not getting the ball. They're taking a knee if it's an end-of-game situation. So they played differently. And in that situation at the end of the half, we just wanted to make sure that they didn't get an opportunity to lap us.
Robert, I have a Hunter question.
Yep.
Were you impressed kind of how Braden bounced back after, dealing with the back and kind of struggling in that opener and then doing all the things he did?
Heck yeah. No, it's any time. And that's what makes these guys special. All professional athletes, in my opinion, not just in this room, but their ability to bounce back. The great ones bounce back. So Braden bounced back. Joe Flacco bounced back in a big way. The O-line bounced back in a big way. And so you just love to see guys bounce back. And so it's exciting to sit up here and talk about Braden, because he had a rough game because he fought for the team with his back. Like I said, he was kind of hurting that morning, and he fought through it. And then he doesn't kick a ball till Friday, and he goes out and has probably the game of his life. So really pumped for him.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.